Here we have it. This is the comic that is the most recommended review I do on this channel. All recommended by the same person. This is the 90s revamp of Dr. Fate's called This is a joke. This whole thing, it might as well be a joke. There are some respectable writers and artists who get dragged into this short-lived character's lifespan. And even the creators here are decent. But I think this was an utterly needless reinvention and a pointless book. Nobody was clamouring for an edgy, extreme reboot of Dr. Fate's. And at this time, I would say it was a redundant idea, as there were already plenty of other books offering much of the same basic ideas you would get out of this. If you wanted edgy supernatural stuff, there were bags of Vertigo books that DC were putting out, and even this very specific idea of taking a Golden Age hero and their legacy being assumed by an unlikely 90s protagonist. While at the same time, DC were also launching the Starman book, which did it much better. But this is our first appearance of Fate. His real name is Jared, which is the funniest thing about him. And this is such a departure from Dr. Fate's. And I can't help but feel that one immediate remedy to that would be, instead of having the red, have it be blue. Improvement. Also, let's be honest, this old design, well, it's cribbed from a certain Batman character who had just abandoned the red and gold look to become the new Batman. This is issue 0, it loosely spins out of 0 hours, Christmas in Time, because what happened was the Justice Society of Superheroes, they were defeated and a lot of them were killed by Monarch. Among them was Dr. Fate and his missus, and that is our starting point for the adventures of Fate. He is a low-life criminal. He is a grave robber, he associates with drug smugglers and the like. The other thing about Fate is that his entire backstory gets retconned twice, maybe even 3 times, since I have not read the Justice Society of Superheroes issues where he dies. Spoilers, by the way, this character did not hang around for long. This here was his first origine, and I would argue the true origine, and the one with the most artistic merit. But the next 2 writers decided to retcon it, and try and make less of a scummy scumbag. Here he is a complete crime ball. It was the 90s, laws and morals weren't cool. There's some very forced action that seems to happen only to kick off the book with some violence and explosions. It affects the plot and the character in the loosest way possible. All it really establishes to the reader is that he has a knife, which you better get used to seeing because he bloody loves knives, this lad. I guess it also establishes he's more than willing to stab someone and take a life. But now we start the actual plot. The Caspars of Dr. Fate and his missus, they show up because you see what has happened is, this was all off panel and it is definitely important enough stuff to actually show us. But what happened was, he has done some of his infamous grave robbing. And he has stolen Dr. Fate's magic helmet and magic amulet. And now the Caspars of Dr. Fate and his missus, they're trying to resolve this whole thing because they are magical artifacts that belong to whoever will be Dr. Fate's successor. There's also some evil demons. They are after them too because this is their chance to do away with Dr. Fate for good. If they destroy them, then there cannot be another Dr. Fates. But back with our protagonist, it's here where we learn all this backstory that I have already said. The stuff about 0 hours and how Dr. Fates was killed fighting Monarch. And then we have got coming at 2 Caspars of all people with his knife. Then the evil demons attack. The writer for this is John Roger Moore. I forgot to say. But I've said before, I have a lot of patience for his work. He doesn't last on this book, and we'll come to that and possible reasons why. But I would imagine this is like some of the stuff you probably shouldn't get him to sign at a convention. I would definitely be embarrassed that I've been the man who created Fates. During this skirmish with the evil demons, the plot, it comes to the realisation that Jared has to become the new Dr. Fates, and he is a rightful successor to Dr. Fates. So Dr. Fates and his missus just fuck off and leave him to fight these evil demons by himself. There he is, stabbing an evil demon with his beloved knife. Some of the stuff here, it's incredibly insulting to Dr. Fates, and we'll come to that stuff. But right now, we have a very tedious glimpse at the future and where Fates is going to end up. We have a little casual glance at a vision of the future. Here he is in all his edgy 90s glory. In a comic that has a stupid idea and a stupid character, I find this vision to be the worst thing. It's needless and it seems to exist just to motivate the character to become Fates, when he clearly has expressed no desire to do so. If you go out to the DC Wikia, or fandom as they are now known, the summary for this issue is a single sentence, and it does not describe something that happens in this issue. But one of our first hints that this is less than reverential to Dr. Fates and his legacy is that we have Fates. He cuts up Dr. Fates' cape to use as bandages for his arm that he has hurt. Cut to his ex-wife, and I can see why they got together, because she clearly is into knives as well. It was the 90s though, so despite their mutual love for bladed weaponry, they were divorced. The art is decent as well. I get a very Ron Lee vibe here, like especially this panel here of the ex-wife. This guy, this artist, he did fill-in art on John Roger Moore's excellent Force run. And he's one of them artists that crop up everywhere in the late 90s. And here is exactly why that bit where we saw the vision of the future hurts what little story there is. Because we end on the reveal that he has now got an Ankh branded on his face. The dramatic impact of this reveal was ruined by showing us only 3 pages earlier the character will eventually have this symbol tattooed on his face. Also, you would not pick this up the first time you read it. You'd only get it when you're looking back at it. But what happened was he attacked the evil demons and he was holding Dr. Fates' magic amulet. And then it did like a magic explosion thing. And then after that, they kept obscuring his face. So that is how he got his magic tattoo thingy. The magic amulet, well, it got transformed into like a magic tattoo. Just like how the magic cape was remade into magic bandages. And as you can see from this cover, well, he's not wearing the magic helmet. So I wonder what magical item the magic helmet is transformed into. I assume something that is very near and dear to him. Right, here is the thing. This is a stupid character. This is a stupid idea. This is a stupid book. But the creative team are fine. It's not a great story, but I would be lying if I said it was as bad as you think it's going to be. I do think they made a lot of mistakes and they were being incredibly disrespectful to Dr. Fates' legacy. And Jared, as a character, he is fucking rubbish. The one notable thing about him is that he is a full-on criminal, but rather than explore or run with that, we're trying to build it up as some sort of lovable rogue or counterculture anti-hero. This is hard to assess, really. It's definitely, on paper, this is bad, but reading it is nowhere near as annoying as it should be. It's not good, and most of the entertainment is derived from seeing them pursue this really bad idea. In a way, in a very weird way, this is inoffensive. Reading it doesn't offend you. Some of the approach to Dr. Fate and his mythology, that is offensive to me as a reader. But as a whole, I think it is mostly inoffensive. And I imagine inoffensive is a word that they never wanted anywhere near this character. I'm going to rate this one 7 thumbs up out of fear that I might lose a very active subscriber and viewer if I didn't give it a high rating like that.